One sec. Okay, everyone can hear me okay still?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'm just a couple of things. I'm going to hand most of this time over to John because he's got some exciting stuff to show us. But as you've seen, you see earlier that you're trying to get access to the sheet that I've created. I'm just thank you for your quick response. I know, Tammy, you've already done it. So I'm just wanting to get an update on all the accounts that we have that are active and whether the account is on ours or on their own account, the Facebook ads. So if you could complete that, it didn't have to be done right now today, but if you do, that's great. But I do need it by next business day, just so I can get it, make sure our billing is aligned and we can add it to their account if we haven't been. I think there's a few that we haven't, so I need to sort that out. I will give you a little bit of a warning though that you might, I will send, if I do bill them and find out that we haven't billed them for their Facebook ads, they may get double charged for Facebook ads, okay? So I will let you know that. They will get sent invoices and they may contact you and go, hey, I've got charged twice this month for Facebook ads. Okay, so if you do get that information, I'm just getting, you'll now have the information to go, no, look, last month and this month, you weren't charged. So it's last month's charge and it's the one that's going forward for this month. Okay, so hopefully that won't upset any of our clients. It is, obviously Facebook's charged us, so we need to recover that money if we haven't charged them, and obviously make sure that their billing will happen on that same date every month. So just in case, I don't think it's going to be a big issue, but you may get one or two customers in that situation, and then now it's normally I just do it and then you ask me why and we check the billing. This is why I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, planning it a bit better. And if they do come to you, you'll have the knowledge to kind of not panic with them and be able to explain it was last month and this month we changed over the billing. If there is an error, send me a task. So if you think it's an error, they were on their own account last month and we've charged them, then just send me a task and we can check it, and we're happy to refund it if we have to. And just that's it. So I just want to just get that all up to date. And that's probably the most important thing for me. But before we hand the time over to John, are there any burning questions that you might have, or a situation you've had to handle this week and you thought, hey, how would Steve handle this? Or how would Local For You handle this? Do you have anything in mind that's come to light? I know we're working on some new silver solos. I heard Tammy at the beginning talk a little bit about what I thought was a good conversation around with the customer, and about, what's a good live date, what's happening in their restaurant, when's the best time for the campaign to start. Perfect. It was good to hear that, Tammy. I was listening.
Thank you.
I was just getting some other things ready. So good. Any other questions or scenarios that you want to put at me that may be helpful that I could help with? Oil, anything?
No, not for now. Yeah,
Okay.
Not for now.
That's okay. Before I hand time over to John, I have one suggestion if you're not already doing it. We're on Zoom right now and I can see you, Oil. I can see, you're happy, you're at work. I can see Tammy, she's happy but wants to go to sleep. Had a good night,
Yeah.
Use Zoom, okay? When you're talking to your customers, sometimes it's going to be best to say, hey, let's just quickly jump on a Zoom call. If they can see you and talk, your relationship can be a lot stronger as well. Okay, not every time, not all the time, but if you want to show them something and explain something to them, let's get used to using Zoom. Just a little bit of a heads up, in 3 or 4 weeks, we may actually switch over to Google Meet. I've just done some testing and all that. And it's actually very easy for everybody to kind of just click a link and get in without having to download Zoom and all that kind of stuff. So watch this space, but whether Zoom or Google, it's a really good idea to get engaged with them through video when you can. Not every time, obviously that's not necessary, but sometimes when you maybe first meet them, say, hey, look, let's jump on a quick Zoom call. Let's have a look at your restaurant. Let's have a look at what I'm going to do for you, and work with you, so you can get an understanding of what work we're doing to work on the success. That's it, guys. I'll hand the time over to John. Oh, you probably need a screen share, John.
Yeah. Thank you.
There we go.
All right, great. All right, so what I wanted to talk about today, just give you a bit of an overview of how the Google Ads are going, because we've been running Google Ads now for some of our Silver Solo clients, and it's going very well. I'm really happy with the results, and so let me just show you. Here we go. Here's one that one of San's clients here, Ginger Thai Food. And we've been running their Google Ads campaign for a week now, since the 15th of June. And there's a few things you see here. And so with the ad itself, Google asks for a few things. And I haven't done training on this, by the way, for you. I'm setting these up for you right now, because I want to make sure, I want to be doing that for at least a few more weeks, just to make sure I'm happy with the campaigns and the setup process. And then I'll do the training, because I don't want to be training you on something and then changing it and then changing it, and then it just confuses everyone. So, but basically they're not hard to set up, these Google ad campaigns, which is great news. It'll take you at most 10 minutes to set one of these up for a client. And once you get used to it, it'll take you less than that. And so Google asks for a few things, like a few headlines. It asks for some images, a couple
Sorry,
of
John.
Yes.
I'm thinking it this really live, so I'm just going to ask you, maybe, I know it may not be the right thing in this meeting, but Google actually offer like a free ad credit. Is there a way we can tap into that here for our clients?
If we were using their own ad accounts, then okay. Yeah, we could.
We'll talk more about that.
Okay. And so yeah, so Google asks for a few things, and then they take that information and they use it. And I'll show you here on this page here on their website. They talk about what we're using are what's called local campaigns, and we've actually come in at a really good time, because this is a fairly new feature that Google has started offering local businesses, and how it works, as it mentions here. So on Google Maps, so this campaign that we're creating for our restaurants, their restaurant features on Google Maps. Okay, so yeah, so when people do a search for a restaurant near me or Thai restaurant near me, they're also showing up on Google Search Network. So if people are just go to google.com or google.com.au and they do a search, we're going to appear there as well, and even on YouTube. Okay. And and Display Network too. Display Network, so that's banners and things on people's websites. All right, so we're pretty much showing up everywhere on Google, which is fantastic, and Google partner sites. Okay, so here's Ginger Thai Food. We've been running for a week now, and you can see here we've had already 21,000 impressions. We've had 171 clicks or engagements. The total, so our budget, by the way, here is $1.50 a day. So here it is, $1.50 a day. So that's to keep us, because we're splitting the $100 between Facebook and Google, we're setting it $1.50 a day. Now, if a client is really happy with the results, or they want more results, and they want to budget more, like they want to spend, instead of $100 a month, they want to spend 150, 200, 1,000, whatever. I mean, maybe not 1,000, but you know what I mean? If they want to spend more, that's fine. We just can increase the budget. We can either share it between Facebook and Google, or we can, maybe put some on Facebook and the majority on Google. The way it's going here, and I don't want to get too much into today. I think that's maybe for a future training, but you know, I would look at the results of, you know, Facebook and Google if they wanted to budget more, and I would see which ad campaigns working best and spend more of the budget on that. But for this client, okay, let me show you some results for this client. So they've had 5 conversions. They've spent total in this past week, they've spent $7.91. They've had 5 conversions. So what does a conversion mean? This is really important. Let me show you this tab here. So what a conversion means, and we can actually see it, is they either have someone clicking on the number to call the business, or they've basically called the business. So we've had 3 of those. And or another conversion is local directions. So we've had 2 people ask for directions to the restaurant. All right. So these are really, really good conversions. And it's great that we can actually show the client this. So when you think about that, so on average, so the cost per conversion on average has been $1.58. So it's cost this restaurant $1.58 either to have someone call them or get directions to the restaurant. Which I think, you know, especially when you consider the lifetime value of a new customer, that's very, very, very exciting. So yeah, that's again, I won't go today. I won't go into the mechanics of how we set it up, but yeah, I'm really excited about these Google Ads campaigns. I think they're going to provide great value to our restaurants. Is there any questions or comments about that?
Yes, I just wonder that sorry, the way it appears on Google, is it like the same way that it appears on Facebook? Like it will select the most popular one or the most the post which get most interactions and display it the most, or
Right. Yeah. Let me take you into this. This is when we set up a local ad for a restaurant. This is what Google asks for. It's a little bit different to Facebook. So Facebook will have at least 3 variations of an ad, and typically be the same text with a different image or video. So with Google Ads, it's a little bit different. What they do, they ask for headlines. So here's some headlines. So
Sorry, can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Ginger Thai Food, where are they located?
they're in New Zealand.
The New Zealand one. Okay.
So we've got the headlines here. We've got a longer description, and then we have some images that we can use. So we give Google the images. We give them the logo. There's a couple of call to actions. So order here, see menu, and then they want videos too. And don't worry if the restaurant don't have videos. We have these short videos here that they can use. So they're really nice videos of Thai food being cooked. Okay, so they can be used for any restaurant. Do you know what I mean? We don't see any logos here. We don't see any faces or anything like that. So what Google is doing, it's taking all these elements, and depending on where the ad is being placed, whether it's on a Google Map search, on Google search, on display network, or in YouTube, it takes all these elements and it creates the ad for that different format.
okay.
And it's giving some feedback too here. Actually, it even gives us some feedback. You know, what it thinks, what it sees is working well and not working well. So we can even, you know, adjust these two based on how it's going.
Question. I know this is San's customer, but I see the results here. It'll be good to get feedback from the customer. Have they noticed? Because this is a solo customer, right? This is not they don't have the shopping cart online ordering system with us. Have you had any correspondence with San at all, John? I know you're seeing the campaign here, but I'm just wondering if the restaurant themselves have gone, oh, yes, we've noticed a bit more traffic.
No, I haven't had that conversation with San yet.
Okay, and I'm
But
just
yeah,
looking.
but yeah, definitely something. We
I'm
should
looking
do.
in here, guys. I'll just give you a bit of an insight into, if you don't mind, John, if I can say a couple of things. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm finished. Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
If I look here, guy, I'll share my screen, and Sam will see this too. So this is all new and learning. Make sure I'm sharing the right screen. I'm just in the account here, Ginger Thai Food. Okay, so this is some really valuable information that I think we could have in here. And it may be here somewhere so you can show me, but definitely here in the notes. I would expect in the notes here, guys, and this is something you start doing, what is the online ordering system that they have, right? I haven't made that section here in the CRM at the moment, but when you're having a conversation, put in notes, at least for now, who the online ordering system was, the username and the password. I don't know where you're storing that at the moment, but it should be here. Okay, and when I ask the question about how do we know if there's results, yes, we can ask the customer, but I'm hoping that we, as an account manager, have access to their data. Okay, so what you want to try and do is get access to their data so that you can actually log into the back end of their shopping cart and actually see if over the last 7 days, there was an actual increase in sales. So you can monitor some of these results as well. I don't want to go into too much detail, and I'm not suggesting that you need to learn a whole new system and get involved on that level, but at least document here, notes, what the system is, what you know, because this is really valuable intel. We may come across similar systems. We may come across, you all may come across people who are using the same kind of system, and therefore, there's some collective learning that can take place as well. So keep good notes as you're talking to the customer. Access to their system would be really great. So some might not want to give it to you. Some have to, because you may need their data anyway for the Google reviews and all that. So anyway, just some thoughts. Any questions about that? You can see what I'm pointing out here. Just make some notes, help yourself. I don't know where you're recording the username and passwords at the moment for their accounts. I know we kind of have it here for our own system, but yeah, best place right now is just to note it down here. I'll tell you now, Tammy, because you're in the US dealing with there's some customers coming through now that have the system called Smile POS.
Yeah.
Have you seen it yet?
Smile Dining. Yeah.
Smile Dining. Okay. So Steph and I yesterday, we met with the CEO of Smile Dining.
Whoa.
Okay. So when I say collective information, it's actually valuable. I noticed a trend very quickly within the US, and Steph and I yesterday met with the CEO who has 1,000 Thai restaurants in the US and doesn't do marketing. Right? So you see what I'm saying, opportunities. So keep notes, but more on your ground level opportunity here. Keep your username, passwords, the conversation in these notes here, so that if we do want to come back over and have a look at certain customers and look into the profile, I'm not expecting you guys to always do that, but management may want to look at some trends and how we can improve for you and make it easier for you. So just wanted to identify that. So especially Smile Dining, that's a system now that, Tammy, it'd be your advantage to really become familiar with it. In fact, we may even be talking to him about creating the first order discount and programming it within a shopping cart.
Yeah.
Because right now they can't do it, right?
Yeah.
Right now there's no first time discount. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So just letting you know, we see these things, and we can do some things in the back end to kind of help. And I haven't talked to him specifically about that yet, but he's a great guy. He's a Thai person. He's in Bangkok actually at the moment, and I think he'd be very open to, if we had customers that wanted that first time discount order, they'd probably build it inside their shopping cart. So there's value in that note taking. I just wanted to give you that example because I know you're now working with a couple of Smile Dining customers, and it wouldn't be a wasted effort for you to become familiar with their shopping cart. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, Tammy, good work. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, and just one final thing, and this might not be the best place. So let me know, Steve, if we want to continue this conversation outside of this meeting. But so one thing I've been thinking about is the $100 ad spend for our marketing clients. So whether it's Silver, Solo, or even just the Silver marketing pack for those that are on the shopping cart, local for you shopping cart. So I've been thinking, do we want to increase that amount? Because as a baseline, meaning like when we initially sign up clients, is $100 enough for them to see results, in their spending, especially, I'm really excited about the Google ads and the kind of results that they can get.
I think it's about managing expectations, and it's not a bad place to have that conversation with Oil, Stan, and Tammy here. Look, we've delivered some training with the Silver Solo to our sales reps, and one of the conversations we're asking them, in fact, we've scripted it, whether that's they're still learning it, as we do talk about the ad spend, and it's also a qualifying question. So it's basically, are you committed to spend at least a minimum of $100? Maybe we can re-emphasize that again a bit more with sales, and revisit that conversation. I know where John's coming from, but I'm just going to give the overview scenario. So if they're not, we've told them not to sign them up. So that's one step in the right direction, because before we would kind of go, they'll just sign them up because that's what salespeople do, right? Salespeople will just sign them up. Oh, I don't know, I'll think about it. And then they come to you with the problem of, I don't want to spend $100, or I'm not sure yet, or I cancel before you do anything, right? So we've kind of put that qualifying question in. I want to leave it there for now, but it's definitely not revisited. We can revisit that value. But what's important is that conversation carries on. If it's happening at sales as a qualifying question and they use it before they sign them up, it's in their mind. As their account manager or their restaurant marketing specialist team member that's working specifically on their account, one of the first conversations you want to have, especially obviously you need information. That's obviously going to be vital for you to progress them into an ad account. But one of the very first important conversations, so whether you get this on a piece of paper right now and write it and put it in front of your computer, is that continued conversation. Now let's talk about ad spend. Let me explain to you how ad spend works. A lot of them have probably never done ads. They've been scared. They might have tried it, spent too much, spent too little. They may have had another company that charged them $500 of ad spend and still didn't get results. And so what we've got to understand is, what is their expectations? And then we can have that further conversation around ad spend. So Tammy, for example, we have a new customer that comes in and signs, they've signed up, they're there. And you're going to say, now let's talk about ad spend. What do you understand about ad spend? How do you know, what do you think about ad spend? How do you understand it works? This is a very valuable question, because they're going to tell you. And before you tell them what John just said, more spend and all that, you need to understand where they are thinking. Oh, I've tried it before. And then the next question is, have you tried it before? Have you paid another company to do ads? So if you understand those two things, then you can have a very education conversation with them about ad spend. And I think let's do that for a couple of months and see what the feedback is and whether they're willing to up their ad spend. So the type of conversation Oil and Tammy and San you can have is, let's talk about ad spend. And this is what we're training the salespeople to say, look, we require a minimum of $100 because that gets us to test it. It works out to be about $3 something a day for an ad. You think about that in context, that may get you 1 or 2 customers if it's a really good campaign. And most people are surprised by that, but many companies are spending $40, $50 just to acquire a customer. And remember, we talked about the calculator, and we can go talk about the value of the customer. That's not what you're going to do in this conversation. Then you need to say to them, look, what my job here for you is to maximize that result. And so we're going to be doing Google ads and Facebook ad spend. And over a couple of weeks, let's touch base so I can show you what's happening in that space. And it's really important to know that if you're happy with some of these results, we encourage an increase in ad spend. Here's the golden ticket sentence, and you may want to write this down. I'm serious, get a pen out. What I want you to understand is just because you spend more, it doesn't mean you're going to get more results. So our job is to find you the optimum result, the best result for your ad spend. So write that down. My job is to help you not to spend more to get more results, because spending more doesn't always get more leads. We know this, but to find you the optimum result. And for you, that may be between $100 and $300 or $400. And we can increase it, but we won't necessarily do a large increase. We do it in increments, just to ensure that we're getting the optimum result. Now, why am I saying this? Why am I saying this, Tammy? Why am I not saying, it's working really well. Why won't you take it to $500 or $600 or $1,000 ad spend? You may do it, but why at the beginning are we having that conversation that I just said to write down? Why do you think I would say that to a customer? We want to just have small increments and make sure that it's still getting the really good results or the optimal results. Why do you think you would say that?
Say to the customer, right?
Yeah.
I have to make them sure that every penny that they paid will increase the new people to their restaurant with much effective as possible.
Good.
And
So
with their
increase,
money.
best, effective. I like those words. I'm going to say the best result, right?
Yeah,
right.
best
And
result.
if you feel like, let me ask you this, Tammy, if you feel like I'm doing something to get you the best result, what happens? There's a big word. It starts with T. Something starts to happen between you and the customer. It starts with a T. Tammy, you might know it. Oil, you might know it. It's okay. I know when I'm talking English and you guys are going, I don't know what starts with T, right? But you'll know the word when I say it. Trust, right?
Yeah.
What's the Thai word for trust?
เชื่อใจ
Right? So if they trust you, then you can have a conversation in the future about their ad spend increase. So what I've taken from John's comment is I just wanted to deliver that perspective. I think we should be talking to the customer straight away by establishing trust with them about the ad spend and how it works and how they understand it. And they may not understand it until you show them what John just showed you, right? Here's your ad spend account. We spent, $8. It got this, 2 people directions, this and that. And if that was me, I'd be going, well, how do I get more of that? You go, well, let's up the budget for an extra $100 for the next 30 days. And they'll go, do it. And then we can talk, right? So the sales journey, I think if we go $200, $300 ad spend and we up it at the beginning, we'll get less people going, I'll give it a go. But I think you can get the ad spend up in that first conversation with trust. And the key conversation is to say, we're not trying to get them to spend more because we don't get the money. You have to have them understand that it's not local for you that gets more money if they spend more on ads. We facilitate the result. And our job is to get them the best result. And so throwing more money at an ad that's not working, which people do, does not get you results. So our job is to get the ones that are working and then maximize it. And we'll talk to you about that. That gives them some reassurance because a lot of the Thai restaurants, and you've talked to them, some of them will still think right now, your accounts right now still think we're probably making money off the ads. They probably think we're making money off the ads, right? And so have that conversation first up, especially with the silver solos. Even the bundle customers as they come through, this could be their first time ever doing ads. They don't understand it. They're scared of it. That's why they want us to do it. So hopefully that's been helpful. And we want your feedback too. So John's asked the question, should we up it? Not yet, but we are having a serious conversation about that commitment, which we weren't having before. So that should improve it. If you continue that conversation when you first introduce yourself, I think you'll find there'll be a greater flexibility. And don't be scared. Don't be scared to ask them that, to talk to them about the results and go, and an increased ad spend here would be beneficial, especially as we're looking at these results in Google Ads. I think Google Ads probably have a better result on increased ad spend than Facebook, and that's an important conversation. Yeah. I'll stop there because I'll keep going. And that was, I think that was enough.
That's great. Thanks for that.
Enough.
Steve. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, have a good one.
All
Eh?
right.
Thanks for meeting
All
up
right.
today. We'll just a reminder, we have an all-team meeting on Thursday.
Okay.
Okay.
It's the last Thursday of every month.
Okay.
Okay, so you get
All
2
right.
meetings bonus this week. All right, see you later.
Thanks so
Couple
much.
So much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.